Onions. Yes, I know what you're thinking. So what? A delicious food, certainly, but hardly important. Well, that's where you're wrong, my friend. George R.R. Martin layers his books like an onion with so many meanings, and there's one layer that is particularly important in the tale of Stannis, and as a result, the realm as a whole. Yes, I'm talking about onions. The most popular onion-related character in the Game of Thrones is Sir Davos Seaworth. Stannis' second in command. He's an ex-smuggler turned knight, referred to as the Onion Knight, due to heroically breaking the siege of Storm's End during Robert's rebellion with just a boatload of onions. Now, Davos is important because... Wait! What's that you say? He broke the siege with onions? Eh? Okay, here's a history lesson for you. During Robert's rebellion, where Robert Baratheon and Ned Stark rose up against the evil Targaryen king, Stannis wasn't having a great time of it. While his brother Robert was doing all the exciting stuff like smashing people to bits with his giant hammer, Stannis was besieged at Storm's End. His fortress was surrounded by enemy ships, which had successfully blockaded it and were trying to starve him out. His garrison was reduced to eating shoe leather and rats, and was going to starve to death when, hurrah! Davos Seaworth sails in using his smuggler skills and saves the day with a boatload of onions. This keeps the garrison from starving, letting them hold out long enough for Ned Stark to get his act together and smash the blockade. Stannis chops off Davos' fingers as a punishment for being a smuggler, and everyone's happy. Wait, what? Onions? Okay, here are some amazing onion facts. Onions are basically water. Foul-smelling spheres of bitter water. They have little nutritional value. So, what good did these onions do? A normal man needs about 2,000 calories a day to survive. How many calories on an onion? 60. And that's a large onion. Stannis' garrison would have needed to eat 33 onions each every day. Let's assume, though, that as this is a desperate situation, they're going to get by on a minimum. 1,000 calories is reasonable as an intake. That's still 16 onions a day, though. And how big was the garrison? We don't know. As a minimum, it would be about 50, probably a lot more. Let's be charitable, though. 50 people would need to eat 800 onions a day to survive. That's 5,600 onions a week. How long was there between Davos arriving and Ned ending the siege? We don't know. But if it was, say, a month, that's 24,000 onions the garrison needs to consume just to maintain minimum levels of survival. If you have a realistic garrison of, say, 500, that's 250,000 onions a week. Could Davos really take that many on his boat? A Clash of Kings tells us he used the same boat to row Melisandre to Storm's End. It's not a big boat. Of course it isn't. To sneak past a naval blockade? Let's have a look at it. How many onions do you think this boat can carry? 1,000 maybe? Less? And why onions? If you want to fortify a garrison in the middle of a siege, they're the worst possible food. You want small, calorie-dense food like cured meat, not gigantic onions which just take up precious space, which could be given to anything more nutritional and calorie efficient. At this point I'll mention briefly that Davos is also said to have taken saltfish. Well, that's more like it, but from all the quotes it seems that onions made up the vast majority of the shipment. So Davos has broken the siege, pledged delicious food, and when he rolls up he's all, ta-da! Onions! I can't imagine what those defenders thought, but it was a deliberate choice on his part, eschewing other, more suitable foods in place of useless, underwhelming onions. So why? Was Davos there to help, or to hinder? Melisandre certainly thinks onions are a food with mysterious properties. She tells Davos that, if half of an onion is black with rot, it is a rotten onion. A man is good, or he is evil. Now, Melisandre is a priestess of the Red God, so she's got some pretty good insights into the realm of good and evil. Here, She's telling us that part of an onion is tainted with evil. It is all tainted. Somehow, onions soak up evil. Perhaps they are even naturally evil. Stannis thought to cut out Davos' evil by cutting his fingers off, his punishment for smuggling. Melisandre says that, like the onion, Davos is still evil, as no amount of cutting can get rid of the rot. So, is Davos evil? Could his breaking of the siege of Storm's End with useless onions be an attempt to raise hopes and then break morale even more, only failing as Ned Stark saved the day soon after? And if so, why? To answer this, we need to look at some more characters that are bound inexorably to the onion. The answers may shock you. The Night's Watch. The Night's Watch love onions. The mentions of them consuming onions in their chapters are too numerous to recount. Onion pies and onion soups are the order of the day. But is this really a bad thing? The Night's Watch aren't all good men, though. Some of the most vile characters, such as Janos Slynt and Cotter Pike, are members of it. And of course, the villainous Night's King of legend was also a member of the Night's Watch. What happens in Cruster's Keep in a storm of swords as Sam tends to a fallen Night's Watchman? Sam was trying to feed him onion broth, but he could not swallow. A man lies dying and Sam is forcing onion soup down his throat. Needless to say, he dies soon afterwards. Onions and death. Onions and evil. Force-feeding helpless figures. Onions. In A Dance of Dragons, the Night's Watch make the captured wildlings choose between an apple and an onion. Now, we know that in mythology the apple refers to the knowledge of good and evil. So what does that make the onion? Actual evil? The wildlings certainly want nothing to do with it. What other member of the Night's Watch likes onions? Yes, Benjen Stark, that's who. Benjen Stark, whose ranging and disappearance beyond the wall set off so many of these catastrophic events, which eventually lured the main force of the Night's Watch beyond the wall to be slaughtered by White Walkers. Now, Benjen might just be a victim of fate, like some believe, or he might be the Night's King, as others believe. I'm not saying either, but there's certainly a pattern emerging. Theon. Theon is a turncloak, a traitor, and a murderer of children. He is also aligned with the onion. In Bravos. While in Bravos, Arya has to stalk and kill an evil man. What does she find this evil man eating? Yes, you've guessed it. Onions. Jorah. Sir Jorah Mormont, slaver and traitor. What foodstuff does he prefer? Onions. So we have a diverse range of characters all over Westeros, all united by one food. One food with strange, evil-retaining properties. The onion. Theon, Benjen, Davos, Jorah, all trusted second-in-commands, all with influence over their leaders, all under the banner of the onion. Apart from Melisandre's warning, the best example of the onion being evil is a subsect of the Night's Watch who seem to be aiding the White Walkers, be that by force feeding comrades onion soup till they die, or luring out the main force to be slaughtered. And remember, it is Davos that persuades Stannis to travel to the Wall, just like Benjen forced the Night's Watch's hand into travelling to their doom. Stannis is the prince that was promised, the one man who can stop the White Walkers. No wonder the White Walkers have an agent in his very midst who tried to totally destroy him during the siege of Storm's End, and is now luring him to the Wall to his death. I wonder if Jorah will give the same advice to Dany. The Wild Walkers may have many allies under the banner of the onion, after all.